Recently, I had a young woman reach out to me to ask the age-old question so many wives and girlfriends have, which is, why won't my husband/boyfriend talk to me? Why won't he share what he's feeling? Well, ladies, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why. And spoiler alert, you're probably not going to like what I'm about to say. In fact, it's probably going to piss you off. But if you actually listen, actually pay attention, and then use the information I'm about to give you, then maybe, just maybe, the man in your life will start opening up. And men, if you're one of those men who doesn't open up, you might want to pay attention too, and maybe consider sharing this with your wife or girlfriend, though I freely acknowledge that if you do, you might end up spending the next few nights sleeping on the couch. But hey, you never know till you try, so let's dive in. All right, so this is a video that every woman who loves a man needs to hear. And ladies, if your man has, as y'all love to put it, problems communicating, well, I hate to break it to you, but it's almost guaranteed the problem isn't him, it's you. Because if your husband or boyfriend ever says, I'm fine, or I'm good, or nothing's wrong, there's a reason behind those words that most women don't understand, and to be blunt, usually don't want to. And that's exactly why the problem never gets solved, why there is no communication. Because for most women, it's better to ignore the issue and just blame the man than accept the reality of what's going on, and then have to change. Now, let me be clear. I'm actually trying to help you out here. I'm not trying to accuse or shame anyone. But unless you're willing to address the actual root cause of the issue, which most couples and most women never do, well, then you're never going to fix the problem. That's a fact, like it or not, which is why, ladies, I genuinely hope you can set aside your fifis just for a few minutes and actually listen. Actually do what you should be doing if you want a man to open up. So let's start by sharing the actual message I received from the woman, and yes, she's given me her permission to do so. And she genuinely does want to fix the issue. Here's exactly what she wrote. My husband never talks to me about what's bothering him. I can tell something is, but all he responds with is, it's all good, or I'm fine, or nothing. I know he's holding back, but I don't understand why. Why is he so afraid to talk to me? Why doesn't he get therapy? Why is he so closed off? All right, now, to be clear, I am not a therapist, nor do I even play one on TV. But I do speak to men by the thousands, and have for decades. And I do know how they think and what they feel. And let me be blunt, it doesn't take a PhD in psychology to understand why men don't open up. It's actually pretty simple if you take a step back and think about it. Because what you're seeing isn't necessarily a communication issue. It's a safety issue, as in emotional safety, trust safety, relationship safety. And when I say he's afraid, I don't mean in the way you ladies just love to use that term to put men down. He's not shaking in his boots. He's not cowering in fear. And he's not mean, weak, broken, or emotionally immature. What he is learned. He's learned through life, through experience, and through relationships. And almost certainly through you. That opening up comes with consequences. Big consequences. It starts for men at a very young age. While girls are coddled and told it's okay to cry, beneficial even, boys are told the exact opposite. Rub some dirt on it. Be a man. Stop crying, you little pussy. And no, they aren't hearing it from men. In fact, they're mostly hearing it from women. The fact is, we men do not grow up in a world that encourages us to be emotionally honest. From the time we're boys, when we can barely walk, the message is drilled into us. I'm fine is the only acceptable emotion. Crying is punished. Vulnerability is mocked. Fear is dismissed, and pain is ignored. Little boys don't get the luxury of softness. They don't get to fall apart. They don't get comfort. They get challenges. They don't get understanding. They get expectations. So he learns early on that when something hurts, he needs to handle it alone. When he's confused, he handles it alone. When he's scared, he handles it alone. He's learned that talking about his feelings doesn't make things better. Oh no, my friends, it only makes things worse. Now fast forward into the teen years and then adulthood. For most men, the first time they do choose to open up emotionally, it almost always backfires. Maybe he told a girlfriend he was stressed, and she laughed at him. Or she minimized it by saying, "You're just overreacting." Or she got annoyed or angry because his stress made her feel uncomfortable. Or she took what he said, twisted it into a pretzel even the Keebler elves would admire, and then threw it back in his face to make him feel guilty. Guilty for having an issue or feeling or emotion, and then laying it on her. Don't you know women have it worse? Don't you know I have it worse? How dare you? Or they do the big one. Maybe he shared something personal, really personal, and then she turned it around into a full-blown, knockdown, drag-out argument. Maybe she became so offended she lashed out at him physically, something that happens a lot more than anyone wants to admit. Or maybe she just left him, terminated the relationship because he dared to open up, dared to be unmanly. It all boils down to how upset women get when men open up. How dare his pain become her emotional burden? It's something you hear women say all the time, though not usually directly. Usually it's, "Why doesn't he seek therapy?" or "Why does he want me to be his mommy?" Well, sweetie, first of all, he isn't looking for a mommy. He's just looking for another human being to show him some caring and compassion. And the fact that you call that you having to be his mommy, well, tells us all we need to know about how safe you are to open up to, doesn't it? And no amount of therapy is going to address the fact that you forced him into comforting the person he tried to confide to, instead of him getting any comfort, caring, or consideration in return. And in case you don't get it, darling, that person is you. And then there's the biggest betrayal of all, the one so many women do and truly believe isn't wrong, isn't unacceptable. So much so they get genuinely offended when you bring it up to them. He opened up, and then she shared it. Shared it with her bestie, shared it at girls' night after a few glasses of wine, shared it with a random friend or her mom, shared it on a group chat or, God forbid, on social media, as so many women are doing these days. As I said, they don't see anything wrong with it. In fact, they think it's downright insane not to do it. "I'm just venting. I'm just getting advice." Why would he be so upset over that? Why, sweetie? Because to him, it was a violation. It was the ultimate betrayal of trust, the ultimate betrayal of your relationship. To him, it's a cut that doesn't heal. Not now, not ever. You've broken his trust, and let me tell you, once you did, you're likely never going to get it back. Nope. The minute you told the world about his private thought, feeling, or emotion is the minute he made a silent promise to himself, never again. Not just with you, but with any woman. And today, with social media rewarding women oversharing everything, we're now in a world where screenshots, diaries, private fights, and therapy-level conversations that are posted by woman after woman, all in hopes of getting clicks, likes, sympathy, and validation, are the rule. We're now in a world where women go online and tell the world what their partner said in confidence so they can sit back and wallow in the attention they're sure to get. They celebrate and encourage complete strangers on the internet to put their significant other down, all so they can bask in the glory of it all, even though it's destroying their relationship completely in the process. Men see that. Men watch it happen all day, every day to other men, and they shut down long before they ever meet a woman worth trusting. So when he came into your relationship, he didn't come in as a clean slate. He came in with legitimate emotional scars that were carved deep, ones that you've now likely dug even deeper. Scars that taught him that your emotions are liabilities, your vulnerability will be used against you, your truth will be weaponized. That's already 2 strikes before he even got to you. And again, while you'll argue, well, he should just go get therapy for it, the fact of the matter is no amount of therapy is going to change what women do. And let me tell you, ladies, almost all of you do it. Which is the hard part, isn't it? You have to admit that you do it. It's the first step, but it's also the one no woman likes to consider. No woman will consider. And yet, unless you do, he is never going to trust you enough to open up to you. But if you genuinely want to understand him, you need to hear that. You need to accept that if your husband has shut down with you, it didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't some sudden withdrawal. It wasn't because he lacks communication skills. It wasn't because he doesn't want intimacy, and it sure as hell isn't because he's emotionally immature. No, ladies, it's because you've shown him who you are. It's because somewhere along the way, intentionally or unintentionally, you gave him reasons not to talk. Maybe you dismissed him. Maybe you reacted emotionally when he was being honest. Maybe your tone or body language or your sarcasm or frustration made him feel stupid for having feelings. Maybe you even told him he was stupid for having feelings. Maybe you got offended by the truth that he tried to share. Maybe you turned his vulnerability into a guilt trip by spiraling into your own emotions. And maybe, and this is the one, as I said earlier, that shuts men down permanently and instantly, you broke confidentiality. You shared something he told you privately with your bestie or your mom or your coworker or online for the world to consume. You might not think it was a big deal, but for him, as I said, that was the betrayal, the ultimate betrayal, and that wound will never fully close. Sorry, ladies, but men don't shut down randomly. Men retreat because repetition teaches them the same lesson over and over. It's not safe to open up with you or any woman. And you'll continue to prove that to him and all men time and time again. Which is why when he says, "I'm fine," he's not lying to you. He's simply protecting himself. He's protecting the relationship from conflict. He's protecting you from emotions he knows he can't trust you to handle. Now, as the woman asked, why doesn't he get therapy? Well, let me answer that one clearly. Therapy can help a man understand himself, can help him unpack childhood wounds, that's true, can help him articulate what he feels. But therapy does not override the reality that he lives in, the reality that you've created. No amount of therapy will change the fact that if he does not feel safe with you, he will not open up to you. You can put him in sessions every week, and he may process everything with a therapist. But the second he walks back into a home where vulnerability leads to conflict, guilt, judgment, or exposure, he will shut down again. He should. Only this time, the door is going to get locked even further. Not because he's damaged, not because he's emotionally incompetent or immature, but because he's learned through painful experience that being honest almost always leads to getting hurt. So the fix here isn't forcing him into therapy. The fix is in rebuilding safety. And emotional safety for men looks like this: being able to say something difficult without you reacting instantly. Being able to tell his truth without it turning into a fight. Being able to share his pain without being mocked for it. Being able to be vulnerable without you mocking him as being unmanly or taking it personally or even leaving him as a result. It means being able to trust that what he tells you stays with you. The fact is, when a man feels safe, when he knows his emotions aren't going to be weaponized, when he knows you're not going to run and share everything he says with everyone you can, when he trusts that his truth won't start a war, that's when he'll talk. Not because you pried it out of him, but because he finally feels protected enough to speak safely, to speak freely. So the question you need to ask yourself isn't, why is he afraid to talk to me? It's, what did I do to make him not trust me enough to talk to me? What in our relationship made him decide it wasn't safe to? And let me share another little nugget with you, ladies, and I'm going to be brutally honest because that's what you need to hear. If you've broken that trust already, the odds of you getting it back are pretty slim, because he'll always wonder, always be on guard, always be waiting to pay the price. But to be fair, in some cases it can be done if you are willing to do what needs to be done, slowly, patiently, one step at a time. You are not going to get it all back in one shot. It's not going to happen overnight. And it sure as hell isn't going to happen by forcing him to talk about it. Because words are hollow. They're meaningless to men. It's your deeds. It's your actions. It's going to take work. And the hardest part of all for women, it's going to take humility. But it can be done. And if you truly love him, it needs to be done. Because once you start rebuilding that safety, once he realizes his heart isn't going to get punished for opening up, once he knows you listen without judgment, panic, or retaliation, you'll see a version of him you haven't seen in years, perhaps ever before. He'll soften, he'll open, he'll trust, he'll share, he'll talk. But again, let me say this, none of it comes from pressure, or nagging, or therapy ultimatums, or you telling him you're emotionally unavailable. It comes from creating the one thing men rarely get in this world, a place where their emotions are treated with care instead of criticism. Give him safety and you'll get his truth. But take away that safety and I promise you, I'm fine is all you're ever gonna hear. In the end, ladies, if he's not opening up to you, the problem isn't him, it's you. It's that you've taught him you aren't safe, aren't to be trusted, and aren't willing to listen. And until you prove otherwise, he's never going to open up, nor should he. Okay, as I said earlier, I hope the ladies are paying attention and listen to what I just had to say. Men, I'm betting most of you were nodding along with everything I said, maybe even wishing you could say what I said. Well, you don't have to. Just share this video with your wife or girlfriend if you dare. Yeah, she'll probably get upset, but if she does, doesn't that tell you all you need to know about her? Shouldn't that make you ask, why am I with her if I don't feel that safe? Because that, my friend, is exactly what you should be asking. All right, that's it for today. This is Dan. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Men Need to Be Heard.